Well, Governor DeSantis has called for a special session, a legislative session, to address immigration issues, hurricane recovery, condominium insurance problems, and the ballot initiative process. The regular session begins soon, in early March, but DeSantis says he wants to help incoming President Trump carry out his agenda, especially on immigration. So the additional session is slated to start on January 27th, a week after the inauguration. Trump is preparing more than 100 executive orders starting Monday in what amounts to a shock and awe campaign on border security, undocumented immigrant deportations, and other policy priorities. So, Mitch, let me just quote from House Speaker Daniel Perez and Senate President Ben Albritton. They don't like the idea of a special session. Here's a letter they put out this week saying, in part, calling a special session at this time is premature, in particular when it comes to immigration. We're strong supporters of President Trump and stand ready to follow his lead. It's completely irresponsible to get out ahead of any announcements President Trump will make, especially when uninformed or ill-timed state action could potentially impair or impede the success of President Trump's forthcoming efforts to end illegal immigration, close our borders, and protect the sovereignty of our nation. So it's pretty unprecedented for the Senate President and the House Speaker to say, hey, we don't need this special session.
Well, certainly in the DeSantis era, it is the first time we've really gotten some significant pushback. But it's going to happen. The Constitution says either the leaders can call it or the governor can. You know, he called this actually a week and a half ago in Tampa. When he first threw out the idea. We contacted Perez and Albritton. They didn't get back to me at all. They were staying silent. And then last Monday in Tallahassee, he goes out and says this is going to happen. And he got specific about it, though. I think one of the reasons why the legislative leaders do not want to do this yet is because these are big, complicated issues, and there was like no legislation. And when you do these things, you kind of want to have it kind of pre-orchestrated to an extent. And they didn't have that. They didn't really have any bills. DeSantis came out the other day, though, and has a litany of specifics when it comes to immigration. They're pretty far-reaching, including, actually, everybody made a big deal when he moved immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. He went down to Texas to get them. Now he's talking about moving them out of the country. This is like a federal thing, and he's talking about doing this at the state level. Also, interestingly, and he's really pounding this down, he really wants to get rid of in-state tuition for Dreamers. This is something that he proposed a couple years ago, but it never made it into law. He was very disappointed about this. This is something that Rick Scott signed into law in 2014. 2 years ago, I asked Rick Scott about it the day that DeSantis announced this, and he said, I'm against this. I support, the law back then. Interestingly, Rick Scott is not responding to inquiries right now where he stands with this. Immigration has really become the biggest issue, or, arguably in the election, and DeSantis is leaning so hard on it right now. Ron DeSantis is elected Washington. Of course, he's not the president Monday, but he's really acting in concert with Trump on this particular issue.
So, Carmen, with an issue, Mitch talked about immigration, but another complicated issue is what to do about condo insurance and requiring condo associations to spend all that money on building maintenance and repairs. Some condo associations are deeply in financial trouble. And I'm wondering, can you solve that problem without a series of hearings and kind of like deep thought on what to do about condo insurance?
I don't know. Like you said, it is tricky. I think the whole insurance thing, whether it's single homeowners or the condo situations, but in reading some of the articles, the condo situation seems to be a little more convoluted because of what they're requiring the condos to insure, and then when they need it, they're not getting the payment out for it. So I do think probably having hearings and digging a little deeper into it is probably a wise thing to do to make sure that it's best practices moving forward, but also that it's saving the taxpayers' money.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about
this is a propaganda tool for the governor, just to keep the governor out there on the issue of immigration. Generally, if you have a special session, it should be kind of single issued. You should know what you want to do because you got a few days, you get in, you get out. In this case, he's got a whole list of things he wants to do, and the things could have waited a period of time. 50 days is not that long. And on the immigration issue, I would tell you that a lot of it isn't just deporting people. A lot of it is just making life miserable for undocumented people. The tuition thing doesn't deport people. Heck, if he knows that they're illegal, why is he enrolling them at all in school? If the governor really is serious about this and he really wants to get rid of undocumented people, all he has to do is bring his bus down, bring his Florida Guard down, and drive through Hillsborough County to every strawberry field during harvest, and he can pick up a lot of illegals. He doesn't want to do that because that would hurt industry. So instead, they're going to pick. They're going to pick at the issue. They're going to make it worse for illegals. They're going to try and punish a sheriff or two who doesn't want to round up a rape victim and deport her because they now find out she's illegally here. And it's just going to be a miserable issue. And like I said, if Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis want to cure this problem, they certainly have the ability to do it. I just don't think they really want to cure it.